All right, Shalom. Shalom, I'm about to pick back up. We're going to read Revelations 13 first in the Hebrew, and then in the English. So, Revelations 13:1 starts off with Wa'ahaya. That's what it is, Yahweh. All right. All right. Oh, come on. Flowing in the ancient. That's what I'm liking. Flowing in the ancient. So Revelations 13:1. Wa'ahaya Imad I'el Kawam Hayam Wa'ara'a Khaya Alya Man Hayam Wala Shaba'a Ra'ashyam Wa'ashara Qurunyam Wa'il Quranyawa Salah Qurunya Aishara Katharium Wa'il Ra'asha Sham got a wapyum, verse 2. Waha Khya Ashra Ra'a Yathaya Mara'a Kana Mar Wara Golyaha Karagolya Dab Wapaya Kapaya Araya Waya Thun Laha Hathana Yan Ath Kakwa Wa'ath Kasawa Wamama Shol Rab, verse 3. Wa'ara'a Wahana Akad Mara Ashra Kapa Tazawa Salat Kapa Tazawai I Wath Washa Mawath Ashra Lawa Nara Pa'a Wathashath Yumam Salat Watha Shath Wamam Ko Ha'aratiza Akaria Hakaya, verse 4. Waya Shath Kawa Latha Nayan Ashra Nathan Mama Shalom Lakaya Waya Shath Kawa Lakaya Waya Amar Waya Amarwa Maya Yadama Lakaya Wamaya Yawako Laha Lakam Athar, verse 5. Wayana Thun Laha Pa Mamalo Gadolwath Wana Tazawath Washala Tun Nathan Laha Laha La Khama Arabayim Wa Shunyim Kadashim, verse 6. Wathapa Thak Ath Ya Lana Taza O Ha'alahayim Wathana Wath Salat Wathana one Salat Wathana one Ath Shamwath Wa'ath Basha Kanwa Wa'ath Hakanyim Basha Mayim, verse 7. Wayanathan Laha La'aishwath Malakhama Aim Hakwa Dashim Walana Tazakam Wathana Thun Laha Mama Shalah Io Ko Mashapaka Washapaka Wa'aim Washala Walasha one Waga Salak Wagawa Yum Wagoyim. Wagoyim. Yes, nations. Verse 8. Waya Shathak Wawa Laha Ko Yeshabya Ha'arataza Ashira La'a Nakathabwa Shamwatham Basapar Haka Yayam Ashira Lasha Hata Bawak Maya Wum My womb hawa sad thabal. Verse 9. Ko Ashra Azan Lawa Yasha Mai. Verse 10. Ko Hama Wala Ka Hama Wala Yak Lashabya Yalak Bashabya Wako Haha Rag Baka Rab Harag Yaharag Baka Rab Bazar Sabalonwath Wa Wathan Salak Wa Wanath Hakwa Dashim. Verse 11. Wa Ara'a Khaya Akarath I law mun hadama walaha quarunyum kakwa runya shaw wama deba wanama salak wama deba rath kathana yun. Verse 12. Wahaya I shaw ko pakwa wadya Hakaya hara ashwana bapunya wama baya ath haaratiza waya shabya lahatha salak lahasha thakwath lakaya hara ashwana ashra nara pa'a makath mawath ashra laha. Verse 13. Wanathanath awathwath Gadol Salat Gadolwath Wagum Ash Mun Hasha Mayam Thawara Yad Ara Tazar La I Yanya Bunyam Adam. Verse 14. Wathatha I Ath Yeshabya Ha'arataza Ayel Yadya Wathwath Ashra Nathan Laha La Aishwath Bapunya Hakaya Ba Amara al Yeshabya Ha'aratiza La Aishwath Tazalam La Kaya Ashra Hakatha Makath Karab Watha Kaya. Verse 15. Waya Nathan La Lathath Roka Batazalam Hakaya Lama'ain Dabar Yada Bar Tazalam Hakaya wa Aisha Tha Kaya Ko Ashra Ayanum Ayanum Masha Thakwiyam Latazalam Hakaya Mawath Yawa Salak Yawa Mathwa. Verse 16. Watha Aish Kaya Klam Lamakwa Tun Wa Aid Gada Wal Abaya one wa Aisha Yag Salak Ashiyar Gum Bunyam Hakaryam Gum Ha'ai Badyam Yathawa Salak Yathawa Thor Ayel Yad Yum Yun Salak Yum Yayum All Ayel Matazak Thum. Verse 17. Wakhiya la'a yawa ko ayash la kwanwath o lamakar kaya haba yawath al yawa thawa hakaya o shama o masapar shama. Verse 18, last verse. Baza haka yama maya ashra lawa thaba wana yakashab masapar Hakaya Kaya Masapar Bun Adam Hawa'a Wama Saparwa Shasha Ma'ath Salak Ma'awath Washashayam Washasha. 6. All right. It's the Hebrew. Now we wrap. Come. Say it again. Oh, Thawada. Feels good. I love reading ancient Hebrew. Alrighty. So now, we in Revelations 13th chapter and the first verse. And it reads, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy." So now, what is this talking about? I'll read it again. "And I saw upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy." Malak. The different rulers around the world. Started off great. The last part is, it's not the different rulers just around the world. It's of a specific people. Who are the people of the Americans? What people are they? There you go. Esau, Edom, right? So when it's talking about this beast here, it says, "And I saw a beast rise up out of the sea." I think when you read it later on in Revelation, it lets you know that the waters or the seas is talking about different nations. Of the nations, of all the nations, one beast rose up out of them, right? And this one beast had 7 heads and 10 horns. What's the 7 heads and 10 horns? We should know what the 7 heads and 10 horns are. At least the 7 heads. The 7 kingdoms of Esau. Right? The 7 kingdoms of Esau. Right? Say again? Where ain't Esau here, right here in America? He originated in the Middle East, where we came from. Yeah. Interestingly enough, I'll ask a question after that. I'm
sure Khan wants to not edify you on this, but this is something we deal with at camp all the time. It's simple, but it's important. Standards of definition are very important. See, in today's time, what they refer to as nationality, the scriptures call it kingdom.
Right.
So what the scriptures call nationality, they call ethnicity. Right? It comes from the word ethnic, which means, like your family background. Then make sure we're on the same page when they ask certain questions. Because people, you say, but they can say, what's your nationality now? When it comes to your kingdom, that's what today people use nationality.
Doc, you had a question?
Yeah, I was thinking about when you were talking about the beginning of the Middle East. These and then they back up from different kingdoms to come along with the 7 kingdoms. Was it back up?
Training to hear.
Don't worry, sister. I'm gonna paraphrase when it gets done.
Yeah, 7 heads, so that means it's back up.
What does it mean? When you say back up, what does that mean?
7 countries.
Right. Right. What did we say when we read Revelations 12, what the 7 heads were? And we went through them. But we started off with we classified it as something. But what were they?
They would,
Kahanabiya just kind of touched on it in what he was just making a statement of. Yeah, it's Esau. The Netherlands are Esau. Yeah, Russians are Esau. But right, in South Africa, Esau's all there. This is dealing with the 7 rulerships, kingdoms of or empires of Esau. Greece. Right. Like these are the ruling kingdoms that Esau had. Right. Going down. There were 7 of them. Right. So when we specify this, that's why it talks about they had crowns on their head. When you have a crown, you have a king or a ruler. Right. So this is the 7 heads is dealing with the 7 kingdoms, empires, rulerships of Esau, starting with Greece all the way to Great Britain. Right.
Each one of them have a time to rule, or they just had their own little rules?
Yeah. Greece ruled for a time. Rome ruled for a time. All of them ruled.
All they all rule.
Right.
They rule the whole world, or they actually rule the world?
Well, when you classify that, starting with Greece, they ruled the known world, or what was the known empires in that time. Because when we talk about the whole world in the Americas, they didn't have the kingdom over here in Americas. They had the kingdom over in that region where the predominantly most of the people were. And then it began to expand. So when the Greeks were ruling, you know, they weren't over here in the Americas. Right.
Was anybody over here?
During the time of Greece?
Yeah.
After Greece, it was Rome, right?
Huh?
After Greece, after Greece was Rome.
Right. Hold on. Did you write it down when we just went through in the last chapter? No, you were sitting right there. Yeah.
She was in the other room, but she wasn't in the bathroom because I was in the bathroom.
Right.
She was back.
So write it down again. You got it, Gabar? Uh-huh. You got it, Patak? What are they?
Greece, Rome, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, and Great Britain.
Do it again, but slower.
Greece, Rome, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, and Great Britain.
Okay, I got that.
All right.
Is that the right order?
That's the right order.
Wait, after France comes what? I take notes, right? After France comes what? After France comes what?
Germany.
Germany, then Russia. then
Yes. Then Great Britain.
to take notes in the airplane.
Right.
There's no point taking notes.
Yeah. And that's a good, I mean, to keep in mind, because like we just read this in the 12th chapter. Now we're reading again in the 13th chapter, and it's going to reference the beast later on in other chapters, right? So we have to retain and know who it's referring to. I said it's good to be able to separate all the other noise and focus on what Yahushua is revealing to John the Revelator. So he's dealing with the empires or rulerships of Edom. And it's important because as we get later on in this chapter, it's going to revert back to one of those kingdoms to expound upon its current kingdom. So you have to know who they are to be able to tie everything together. All right. So now that you got the 7 heads and the 10 horns are what? What are the 10 horns? Duada, the 10 common markets, also known as either the EU, or as NATO, right? They change. So we're not going to give you to say, Here are the 10, because some come in and some go out. It changes over time. But these are the common markets, those who do trading or business with the beast, right? They're in league with the beast. Down Revelations, the 17th chapter and the 12th verse. Revelation 17 and 12. Yes, the 10 horns, right. So now here in Revelation 17 and 12, it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast, right? So these are 7 kings, right? They have their own space, they have their own place, but they're not stood up as a kingdom. They're not stood up as an empire. They have their time with the beast, meaning they are able to function and to do things in the earth as if there are a ruling power, but they're not. That's where you get NATO and you get the different other nations that work alongside with the beast to do the things that they do. All right. So they don't have a kingdom. They're not an empire, or they didn't have their own empires. These are just kings who have their time to go in and deal with the beast as they see fit. Say again? These are Esau.
They're still Esau.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. They're their comrades. They're not rulers. They're like, associates, subjects. So there's a word that I want. Yeah, like a conglomerate. Right. Yes. And even a lot of them.
Subject to her majesty.
Yes, I was about to say that. A lot of them are under the queen. Yep. All right. So now let's go back to Revelations 13 and 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns. Right? So we just read that there are kings, but they don't have a kingdom. Right? That's why it says, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Right? So there's a lot of blasphemy that proceeds from the beast, that's associated with the beast. As we read later on in the chapter, it's going to touch on a little bit more. It's going to jump back to some of the things that it's mentioning right now. All right. Upon his, because it tells you when we just read that the 10 horns are 10 kings, but they don't have a kingdom, right? So they have like a crown. A king has a crown, but he's not. These ones are not given the rulership of a king, in the sense that he has a throne to rule a whole region by, right? It's like having a president and having governors all over the place, right? Yeah, like, well, yeah, he'd be like the king. In this case, he'd be like the beast, but he has a whole bunch of governors running around. And the governors in each of their states are supposed to have top authority, right? But then they answer to the president, right? The president will set the law that goes across the whole country. Right, but they are given the power to say, okay, this is what I want to establish in my state, right? I'm going to give, gay marriages license to marry. Then I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to do that, right? I'm going to make marijuana legal, right, in my state. So they're given certain leeways to do certain things, but the king or the president is the one who can come down and say, no, this is what it's going to be. And it's interesting, like when we watch House of Cards, how they portray the relationship between the president, the congressman, the governors of state, hierarchy works when it pertains to legislatures being passed, favor for favors, and all of that.
Yeah.
You know, all of them have their time with the beast, right? They come in and sit with the president from time to time, right? This is what we want, or this is what the president wants of you. And like you said, you may be able to say, you know, according to the law, I can do my own thing. Okay, go ahead and watch what happens, right? Yes, exactly.
Fire.
Right? Not even that you just get fired. You know, usually when you buck up or you go against the throne, you go against the rulership, it's just not, you know, you kind of made an example of sometimes. You know? Yeah, you're blackballed, you made a mockery in front of the media and the news. Yeah, one of those things. Or you could just be taken out. Right? They sometimes will take you out. So now verse 2, it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Beast gave the similitude of these different animals, the leopard, the bear, and the lion. Say again? Yeah, he has traits, characteristics, and similitudes of these different animals. Now, when you read it in Daniel's, it describes 4 different empires, right? 2 of them are from 2 other specific, distinct different nations, and the last 2 are from Esau, right? You start with the Babylonians, then the Persians and the Medes, and then the Romans, and then the Greeks, and then the Romans, when you read it in Daniel's. And it gives you different to each one of those empires. It'll precept you to that, but it's not the same, right? Because right here, we know that later on in time with those 7 heads, me and Kahan was talking about this before, the 7 heads of Esau, in the Apocrypha and Maccabees, we know that Alexander was the first ruler of the Edomite Empire under the Greeks. And and Alexander the Greek, or the Great, as they say, but he had the symbol of a leopard. He used to wear a leopard cape and, you know, all the things that gave the image of a leopard. Yeah, that was their symbol, right? Or his symbol as being the ruler of the Greeks. Then later on in Esau's empire, the Russians took the symbol they had, and they still have the symbol of the bear, right? They use the symbol of the bear over in Russia. After the conversation, when you look Great Britain, they use the symbol of the lion, right? But it's not to say that that is just them. These are the different characteristics and attributes, right? Now, reading it again, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority, right? So now the beast encompasses these different things, starting back from Greek, Russians, Great Britain, right? Well, like I said before, we're coming up on 4th of July, where we are an extension of Great Britain. America is, and it's about to celebrate its separation from them. But this beast has certain characteristics of these that is being described. And then it's going to describe another one as we read down that takes more of the spirit of this one of the heads of the 7 than what we're seeing right now. But the point of matter is, in this verse, is that who set him up? Ultimately, it's the Most High, right? The Most High tells you he raises up kings and brings down kings. But here in this verse, it says, and the dragon gave him his power. Who is this dragon that it's talking about? The devil. Is it talking about Esau? No, this is talking about the actual devil, the spiritual entity devil. Now, in the last chapter we read, and it was talking about Edom as the devil. Now here it is, I mean, as the dragon. Now it's talking about Satan as the dragon. not specifically talking about Esau, because this dragon gave that beast his power. How did he do it? Right? How did this dragon give the beast his power? Go to the book of Matthew. 4th chapter. And the 8th verse. Matthew, the 4th chapter and the 8th verse. And it says, again, the devil taking him up into an exceeding high mountain and showing him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. The devil, the spiritual entity, the devil, taking Yahushua and showing him all the kingdoms of the earth. So this definitely has to be the spiritual entity, the devil is Satan himself, to go through a moment of time and show him all the rulerships and kingdoms, right? Then he says, and the glory of them, verse 9, and saith unto him, all these will I give thee if thou wilt fall down and worship me, right? I'll give you all the glory and rulership and power over all of these kingdoms if you will worship me. So this is the temptation that the devil has put upon Yahushua, right? And it says, then Yahushua saith unto him, get thee hence, Satan. So the devil, Satan, same thing. For it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy power, and him only shalt thou serve. So this is how the beast was given his power by the dragon. He worshiped him. The only person that we're supposed to worship is the Most High. Satan has come up and said, if you worship me, and we know that Satan's principles are not the Most High's principles, then I'll give you all of this power that the beast had. It came from Satan, worshiping of Satan and his philosophies and his doctrine. Y'all can.
Revelation 4:9.
Right. So y'all can reference Revelations 2:9 to go with this verse. The last precept says that they are the synagogue of Satan, those who say they are Jews and are not. Same context, right? So now going back to Revelations 13:2.
Matthew 4:8 to
9, 10. So now I'm going to read it again. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power. This is talking about the actual spiritual devil or Satan. Gave him, the beast, Edom, his power and his seat and great authority. Right? He has great authority over the whole world, given to him by Satan. Now, verse 3, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. This is talking about. When Rome was sacked and brought down, right? When Rome was sacked and brought down, this was the wound. This was one of the heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So the first part of this, Rome, when? That's the exact time when Rome actually fell, 476. When did it start? Kahan Nabiyah.
193 AD.
In 193 AD, it started by a man or one of the gladiators, them known as Septimius Severus. Right? Yes, in the movie Gladiator, his name is Maximus Million, whatever that was, something like that. But near Maximus. But in real life, it was Septimius Severus. 193 AD was the start of that downfall. 6 is when it fell, when he was done. Septimius Severus, that was the fall of Rome. You have a lot of books and even movies on the fall of Rome. Right. 193 AD. And the movie Gladiator, one of the late movies that they made to represent what happened, it was Maximus. You ever seen that movie?
I probably looked at it and turned it off.
Yeah, it's a good movie to watch, but when you watch it from the perspective of knowing that this guy is not who you think it is based on what you see on TV, that he was Israelite fighting in the pits in Rome as a gladiator, then it puts perspective in.
Right.
It puts perspective in. You watch it with a different eye.
What did you associate that with Spartacus?
Yep.
That was a brother?
Spartacus, Ben-Hur, Judah, Ben-Hur.
When you say associate, make it clear. You said, yeah. What do you mean when you say associate?
By associate, I'm saying, was Spartacus then on that fall of the Roman Empire?
Oh, so yeah.
Like my man Maximus was Spartacus and on that too. Because, you know, I've seen the movie Spartacus where he stood up and fought the Roman Empire too. Right? Kirk Douglas.
Yeah, it was Kirk Douglas.
Did he stand up and fight the Roman Empire and the movie about Spartacus?
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the same period. But if you make it in a reference as far as for movies like that depict us in a realm of being Esau when it's really Israel,
right,
then yeah. It's those movies and you realize and understand now with a different eye, it puts a different perspective on what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And then you start looking at the rest of the cast of characters that's there differently. You know.
They play a very cooperative, like slaves.
Yeah. That's calculated.
They don't even talk.
Yeah, that's calculated. Yeah, that's calculated. Sister said, you notice sometimes in the movies that are supposed to represent us, but don't. We are in there, but we're in there in slave capacity roles without with no dialogue or commentary in there, just in the background, the side. Whereas we should be in the starring roles. You know, you're the extras in the show. Yeah. Kahan Nabiyah. Kahan Nabiyah.
I was gonna say, in the latest Christ show was interesting because they had the disciples different nationalities. And they had John as a brother. You probably ever seen that before. It's always what's his name? Who's the man that helped out Christ carry the cross from Cyrene? Cyrene. They always had him like being light skinned or dark skinned, even like sometimes so-called black. They always showed him as the one black person that was there.
Yeah.
Helping Christ carry the cross. So it's hard to argue that one because Cyrene was in North Africa. So.
Yeah.
But even that, he had plenty of Esau over there too. So it's like, how you know for sure that he was dark skinned? But they'll give us that one,
So even in the Ten Commandments, you see the two big black slaves fanning somebody. That's the only black people.
Yep. Even in non historic movies like that, we're kind of the like when something goes on and it's like a cast of characters, one Jake in there. Everybody knows, he's gonna die first. He's the first one to die. It's easy. You're anticipating that moment in the first 30 minutes of the movie. He's gonna die, and then the movie comes. Now the movie's about to start. Who else is gonna die? Because I know he's gonna die.
He gonna die first.
Yeah. So let's continue on. Back in Revelations 13:3 again. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. So that's started in 193 AD. 6, and his deadly wound was healed. What is that? His deadly wound was healed. Him coming back in the power, but when and how? Very important time in history. It fell in 190. It started in 193 AD, fell in 476. Later on in the Revelations, I think it's 20. Revelations 20. Say again? 476. Started in 193 AD. 476 AD. It started in 193 AD, Septimius Severus. It culminated in 476 AD. Prophecy and said it's supposed to happen for almost 1,000 years. So now fast forward 1,000 years, what happened? They came back into power during the 1450s, right? During what we now know is around the time of the Renaissance era, right? Starting over there in the regions of Constantinople and all those, they started there and started to branch out. Rome began to come back into power. Brought down for a period of 1,000 years, and it came back. So you would say, hey, maybe around 1476, 78, somewhere in there, they started to rise up. And then in 1453 AD. So this is what it's talking about when it says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. It was like they were dead, done. But then I saw the deadly wound was healed. He came back. But he's seeing this in a vision. Heads, and it's like, oh man, this one died. But then all of a sudden, he come back alive. He's like, oh snap, he's healed again. Right? Period of time went by. So in this chapter, in Revelation 13, he just see it happen. Fast forward into the 20th chapter, Yahushua tell him how long that period is supposed to be. I think it's Revelations 20 and 3. Mm-hmm. So yeah, link this Revelations 20 verses 1 to 3. Chapter 20 verses 1 to 3. I think we went through this before when we was going through the bottomless pit. When we read Revelation 7. Was it 7? No. When we read Revelations 9, when we went into the bottomless pit in Revelations 9 and 1. So in your notes, you should have a lot of verses and precepts for the first 2 verses in Revelation 9 dealing or pertaining to the bottomless pit, which is over there in the region of Europe. Now, Revelations 20 and 1, it says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So this description of the beast is the same that we read in Revelations 12 and 9. The devil and Satan, speaking about the dragon, the red dragon. which was bound for how long? 1,000 years. Verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years shall be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Then the Most High Yahweh shall let him come back up. Let him be healed again. He's alive again. He's revived to go out there and to do what? Deceive. That's what it says here, that he was supposed to deceive the nations no more. Now he's come back. It's a flood. It's a floodgate. Deception's going on. Right? That's what Yahweh Shah is showing John and showing us. So this is what's happened here in verse 3 in Revelations 13:3. He was wounded to death and he came back later on after 1,000 years. And it says, and all the world wondered after the beast. This new, who we thought was dead and gone, now look at him. He's back in full force, going and pillaging again. Right? It's like you seeing somebody die and all of a sudden you see him resurrect. You're like, yo, this guy was dead. How is he here again? How is he ruling again? How is he doing these things again? Right? So now he's about to go and ransack and take over the whole world. Yahweh.
Malachi 1 and 4.
Come. Good precept.
It says Malachi 1 and 4. It says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord had indignation forever.
Right. So they said that they was impoverished, but we're going to come back in the power and rebuild our kingdom. Right? The Lord said, yeah, you're going to build, but in the end, I'm going to throw it down. Right? It's going to come down and fall. And they'll be known as the border of wickedness.
What was that, Shema?
That was book of Malachi, the 1st chapter and the 4th verse. Okay. Malachi 1 and 4. Okay. So now we're back in Revelations, the 13th chapter and the 4th verse. So it says, and they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. So they worship Satan. Right? A lot of times when we talk about the elite, the rulers, the hidden ones, right? They speak about what they do in closed doors as far as for worshiping Satan. This is what it's saying. It says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. So this is how the beast sustains itself in power, by worshiping Satan. Right? It says, and they worshiped the beast. So now the people, the other nations, are worshiping the beast, who is Edom. How and why? It says, saying, who is like unto the beast, and who is able to make war with him? Come on.
Especially these songs. But what country's got what? Who's the strongest country? Always say the same thing. No one can beat America, or no one can beat this country, especially in Europe. You got this many nukes, this many soldiers, da 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 da. No one ever think to go and fight against them. So far advanced as far as technology, this, that, and the third. So this scripture is like jumping at me in 3D.
Khan. So again, like Khan just brought out, their technology, their weapons, their arsenals, their armies, this is what gives them the power over all the other nations. So now the other nations in fear say, listen, who is like unto the beast? Who out there is like them? And who is able to fight against them?
Hiroshima, Nagasaki.
Right.
Really simple.
That was the point in time that sent the message to the world when the bomb dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because no one else had that type of arsenal. It's like saying, listen, we all fighting with, you know how back in the day you watch the movies and everybody's doing hand-to-hand combat, or they may have a rifle and you shooting pow, pow. Imagine somebody just stepping on the scene with a Gatling gun and just, and they like, pow, pow, they just getting, it's like, listen, who can fight with him, right? But they were coming with guns and things and knives and swords, and the bomb drops, right? You may have a little tank here, but something comes and wipes out the whole region. That whole area is destroyed. He's like, oh man, I gotta get on one knee. I gotta pound down and submit. Who can withstand that? Who can fight against that? Right? Too much. Yeah.
Nobody dare to come against it. You know?
Right. And that through that power, that's how they began to rule all the world. Right. Once that happened, then they began to have control and dominion over setting up policies and who can do this and who can do that in the earth. This is why reading this verse is going to make more sense for one of the verses in the chapter. Right. This power, this authority that Satan has given the beast, set the standard for them to do and dictate what goes on in the world.
But in the United States, go to every country and they get the finest minds of everybody they pick, and they come over here and they put like the Germans and they have some Russians over here, then they have some of the greatest black minds. They pick the litter and help them to be able to conquer the other nations. With other nations, they stick to themselves. Like, you know, Arabs with Arabs, Indians with Indians with Indians, Chinese with Chinese. The United States, they pick everybody out who want to come here. If they smart enough and bright enough, they put them in their arsenal and say, help us fight.
Right. When you are ally, and we'll probably read a bit of it later on in this chapter in the Apocrypha, as far as for those who are allies or friends to this beast, what privileges and benefits they get. Right. So like when everybody else saw what happened, man, I got to get myself right. Right. Think of it in you know, on a carnal scale. You know, if you grow up in an environment where you got somebody and everybody's kind of vying and fighting for position or control of the block, right? Different facts. You got this group, you got that group, da da da. But then here comes one who just has more power and influence over everybody, and he makes an example out of one of them. Right? He makes an example out of him where everybody's like, yo, I ain't messing with him. So what are they going to do? Yo, we're going to go up there and shake hands and break bread with him. Right. You know, we're going to come in and be in league with him. Like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? I don't want no problems. I just want to survive. I just want to just, you know, do my own little thing, but only if you allow me to, right? I'm giving you the courtesy to dictate to me what I can and can't do, right? And I don't want any problems. So that's the same thing where these other 10 horns, that's what they do. They come in and they have their 1 hour with the beast. Hey, what's going on? How you know, is everything okay? You know, can we go and do this? Should we go over here? No? Okay, fine, we won't go over there, right? But, you know, they're given that opportunity to come in and say, all right, fine, we're in league and you can look out for me, right? Something happen with you or anybody coming, I'll help you out. Because I know ain't nobody messing with you, right? I'll come back you. And that's what happens on a global scale with all the different nations. Right? For quiet. Daniel 7:7.
That's going to give also a description of that beast, which is diverse from all the other beasts. That's why he has his minion. He is so big that he has to have his allies.
Gun. To read that, Daniel 7:7.
And it reads, after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible and strong, exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
Right.
And that was America.
Hmm? Eventually, yeah, it will become America.
The home is the extension of
Right. So America is going to be an extension of them. However, at this time, it's describing them, but they will transition and become what it is now. They will be diverse and different from everybody else and be able to destroy and pillage and fight unlike any other ones, any of the other empires or kingdoms.
Like this literal revelation, it's going to be the whore who's on top of the beast.
Yep.
That's going to be America. She's the whore right on the top.
Right.
But I don't want to say too much.
Go on. So that was Daniel 7 and 7. To link with verse 4. Go on, Nabiyah.
On the Hiroshima Nagasaki took, so that we're not afraid, Isaiah 54, 16 and 17. I tried to read this to a brother, and he was afraid. He was afraid of what we were saying. He was like, I don't want to be, like, he understood what we were saying, but he was afraid to say it out of fear of what might happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to explain to him, physical, mental, spiritual weapons, they won't work against us as long as we're with the Most High. And he didn't believe it. He had a spirit of doubt, which is understandable. You don't understand who the Most High is and what it can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had read up on, the technology they had. So I tried to read this to him, but I don't know if he received it. But Isaiah 54, in verse 16, it says, "Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, that bringeth forth the instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord." So it shows us that no matter what they build, no matter what technology they come up with, the Most High made it in the end, because he created the men, gave them the inspiration to build it, whether it's our people or the heathen, whoever, to build something that can then be weaponized.
Right. In that case, like with us, we may read this and understand, but some people who don't have the understanding of the scriptures, they will fear when they read this thing because they have no power to stand on it. And the beast can make them afraid because of what he represents.
Mm-hmm.
That was that brother.
And that's why sometimes you get people who, pray against it. Like, well, I don't want that to happen. I don't want that war to happen. I don't want those destructions no. So in their mind, because of just, the image of what they're seeing, they try to go against the Most High's prophecy. And keep in mind, you had, I think it was Daniel, who was afraid of some of the things that he saw. Like it caused a stir with him. Ezra, it also caused a stir with him when the Most High showed him certain visions. So when they saw it in their current state, they were alarmed, like, wow, because they were seeing, it was painted for them to see what things were happening, or they were able to see in the future what was going to happen to people, to see the destruction, right? I mean, it's one thing reading it, but then, when you see a brother get shot, right, and how the cops killing him, you actually see the footage, you like, dang, man. Like when they showed the brother, the last one who the cop got acquitted. But yeah, and you seen the video of how he shot in the car. You was like, oh my God, dang, right? It was more alarming seeing it than hearing about it, right? So now when you see, if you are given the privilege to see all of these different visions of different things, all in a moment of time and the Most High dealing with you, it'll probably stir you up. It'll jack you up for a minute. That's why the angel, keeping in mind, even when Yahushua understood what he had to go through, he prayed to the Most High, and the Most High had to send an angel to him to strengthen him, for him to overcome that fear and to stand with the Most High. So when these individuals see it, just like how Kahan Nabiyah was trying to comfort them and be like, listen, don't worry about it. Here's what the Most High has in store for us amidst while all that's going on, right? So you don't have to fear. Those who are not in tune with the Most High, now they got something to worry about, right? They got to worry. That's why the Most High says, what is the day of the Lord for you? You desire the day of the Lord, but what, do you know what's coming? I don't think you do. Now the change of spirit in your heart so you can get it right. So yeah, some of these visions, as you read it, we can imagine what they saw, but they were seeing these things. And you would have to even imagine what the Most High and Yahweh showed them. How did he show them? Like, what did the dragon look like? Right? How vivid was it? How crazy was it? Right? All these things play a part in how you receive it. You know, if the videotape was blurry and he was seeing the shots going in, he couldn't really see. It's like, hey, it sounded crazy, but I didn't get to see it. But you seeing a brother laid over, slumped, having been riddled up with bullets, right? When he was still alive a little bit, because you can see in the car after he did it, he was still kind of a little bit calm. You see him breathing, but you see the different wounds on him. You're like, dag, man. Now you start to become sympathetic and empathetic to his circumstance. Imagine seeing a whole bunch of people going through that. Bombs dropping, things being killed and destroyed and everything. It's like, whoa. Yahushua coming, his garment is all white, and when he leave, is splashed in blood. Right? Yeah, that's heavy. It's going to be a war. It's going to be some killing.
Let me read this one we're talking about. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verses 12 to 14. Ecclesiasticus, you don't have to get it, write it down. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 and verse 12, it reads, woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways. 13. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended. 14. Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will you do when the Lord shall visit you? So we don't want to be part of those woes right there.
Mm-hmm.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 12 to 14.
All right, so let's go back to Revelations 13. We have verse 4 now. It says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. Right, so this is kind of going into when it says he had the mouth of a lion. It says, speaking great things and blasphemy, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. So the 42 months is also associated with what, or aligned with what? 2 months? 3.5, right? Or the 350-year period, right? During our captivity. So now during the heart of our captivity, it says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, right? So now we're getting to the next verse, but now we see, going back to the 12th chapter, where it talks about 1,203 score in the 6th verse. Then when we jump down to the 14th verse, it said a time and times and a half time. Now we're in Revelations 13 and it says 42 months. They're all dealing with the same time, all talking about the same thing, but different perspectives. We in the wilderness, being nourished, Esau's power, and at the same time, when we're in our captivity, he's going to be speaking great blasphemies. Right? Now, these blasphemies, what are they? Verse 6, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. Right? So what is it talking about? And he opened his mouth to blaspheme against God.
He changed the color of God.
That's one.
Lies.
Such as, that's what blasphemies are, right? Lies, wicked lies, filthy lies.
Different religions.
Different religions with different doctrines of how to worship God that go against the scriptures. What else? God could be a woman, right?
Change the color of the angels.
Mm-hmm.
Change the angels like all together.
Big head with black eyes.
All right.
Maybe.
The grays.
There is no God, right? In some places they said there is no God, right? That's just, you know, a spook. Spook that's there. Y'all guys believe in a spook. They put that vibration out there, right? And all of the things that pertain to what the Most High put in the scriptures, how the earth was created, how man was created, how the animal was created, you know, all these things, they blaspheme against God. Then it says, and his tabernacle, right? And his tabernacle. Who are the tabernacle?
The churches, the people.
Yeah, but who is that?
Things like the pastors, the teaching false doctrine to the people.
Mm-mm.
The tabernacle.
The tabernacle is Israel, right?
Israel.
Think in mind, it's like the tabernacle or the temple is with the Most High's portion, which is Israel, right? Write down Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. Ezekiel 37, write down 21 to 22, and then verse 26 to 27. So Ezekiel 37 and 21. So Ezekiel 37:21 says, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountain of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. Jump to verse 26. It says, moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yeah, I will be their power and they shall be my people. Right now, if I read on, it says, and the heathen shall know that I, the Lord, doth sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. So the tabernacle is dealing with Israel, right? But they're going to blaspheme against the tabernacle and those who are in the tabernacle. Be quiet.
And also Revelation 2 and 10. Because the Revelation, when John wrote it, was nearing the end of the first century. And the people experienced how the Roman Empire was persecuting the Jews or the Israel on a high level, such as never been done before. So in Revelation 2 and 10,
Revelations 2 and 10.
It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulations 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So that was Yahushua giving us words of encouragement. And to endure the hardship that we were going to go through as the empire was persecuting the Israelites. But you know, as John was writing it, at that time, people might think that the Roman Empire was the beast that it was talking about, but it's an extension that we're still going through.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fourth beast.
Come on. Oh, come on.
Leviticus 26, 11 and 12. Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 11, it says, "And I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. I will walk among you, and will be your God, and ye shall be my people."
Right. So now that shows you who the tabernacle of the Most High is, which is Israel, right? Now, going back to the blasphemies, you can write down Ezekiel, the 35th chapter. Ezekiel 35th chapter. Verses 1 and 2. And we're going to jump down to verse 11. So Ezekiel, the 35th chapter and the first verse. It says, "Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it." So when it's talking about prophesying against Mount Seir, who's it talking about? Esau, right? Because Esau was the one that dwelt or inhabited Mount Seir. You could just write down Genesis 36 and 8.
Genesis what?
36 and 8.
Like it's so funny. This is what Esau have to say here. Esau is Edom.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, oh, the same guy?
Yeah.
It's very plain.
Yep. So again, in verse 2, it says, "Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it." So it's specifically talking about Esau that you're going to go and speak to. Now, jump down to verse 11. It says, "Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee." So this is the Lord speaking to Esau about what he's done to Israel according to his own hatred, right? Verse 12, "And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, They are laid desolate, they are given us to consume." So the children of Israel are no more. Now it's given to us to go and bring them into slavery and captivity, to change their faces to ours, to take their land as ours. Now we can go and consume them. And then in doing that, as we read the other scriptures, in their pride, they set themselves up to becoming God, to sit in the seat of God, to now go out and spew out lies as if they're God, to go out and deceive the people. So these are the blasphemies that the Most High is saying, listen, I've heard them now. Verse 13, "Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them." The Most High is like, listen, y'all go and you tell them it ain't go without knowing. I heard everything y'all said and did, right? Verse 14, "Thus saith the Lord power, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate." So when everybody else, when Israel and everybody else get in their rightful position, y'all gonna be the ones that's gonna be made desolate. Verse 15, "As thou didst rejoice in the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate." So when we fled and we had to go into the mountains, who was prepared in the wilderness for a time and times and half a times, it says, "When that was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. So you can't say, well, that was just them, but that was just that group over there. Most High said Mount Seir and all of Idumea. Then it even goes more specific, even all of it. Not just a small all of them are going to be made desolate.
And we supposed to tell them this?
Yes. You're quiet.
And also, we're going to go to the chief priest of Idumea, which is Satan, in Revelation 2 and 13 again.
No, what shape?
Prince.
Spirit.
Prince of darkness.
Who's this question? You asked who was thinking?
No. Actually, it's Constantine breaking down Idumea. And now we're going to go to the chief of Idumea. Well, Idumea again is power. And Mosai is going to tell us that he was for all of that. Right? In Revelation 2, in verse 13, it reads, I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Satan sit is. So even where Satan sits, seat. So you know where his seat is. So I know thy work and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and has not denied my faith, even in those days wherein in thy past was my faithful brother, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. Now that's taking it more on a spiritual level, that the Most High control everything, even Satan himself.
So that was Revelations 2 and 10, 2 and 13. Mm-hmm.
Revelation said what, Samad?
2 and 13 that Khan just read.
2:13?
Khan. What was that? That was Ezekiel 35, verses 1 to 2, and then 11 to the end, which is 15.
Yeah, I like that 11 to 13. Oh, I like that one. I can't wait.
All right. So now we're back in Revelation 13. And we'll read 6 and then on into 7. It said, and he opened his mouth and blasphemed against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. So it was given him the power and the seat to make war with Israel and to succeed, right? The 40 and 2 months. They went, got us, and they brought us over here in captivity, right? And then not only was it given for them to make war and to succeed with us, but over all kindreds, tongues, and nations, this beast succeeded, right? During this period, they ruled over everybody. They got the time, the weaponry, and everything, and built it up to a point where they ruled over every nation, right? Verse 8, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, right? So not talking about the elect, it's not talking about the saints, the chosen. This is talking about everybody else who's not written in the book of life, shall in some way, shape, form, or fashion worship the beast, right? Fall under his rulership, under his jurisdiction, right? Pay tribute, homage, something to what the beast has set down in the earth.
I was thinking about in Judah, it shows the history of how the nations took power they would demand an offering of earth and water
Mm-hmm.
from their subjects. You have the scene in the 300 depicting this. You see it right there in Judah, where it tells you that Nebuchadnezzar that how they demanded the earth and water. And then like certain Bibles in the subcaption will say, because it's supposed to signify that they were rulers over the land and over the sea.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, if you said something they would do to the power that was an authority to say, yes, we acknowledge your authority. Here's a generous offering of earth. Here's a generous offering of water.
Be quiet.
And also, them coming back from the womb or being rooted is a deception to have the world in amazement to follow it. Not the world follow and worship, not just the beast, but dragons. So Satan and Esau being worshipped.
Right. That's why it said in verse 4, it says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. Right. And that's why I made reference to even the beast, those elitists, right? Those who are in the top positions, we always see in certain films, documentaries of how they have their secret worships under Satan, right? Those who are Masons, right? And they go up so many different degrees or levels, you find out who's at the top, right? They start down at the bottom. It's like, ah, yeah, I'm a 6th degree Mason, and then a 3rd. Oh, I'm still a Christian. I still do it this. You know, they're still this, you know, just the pawns. Yeah, exactly. But as they go up, and you start getting to this degree, you know, the teens, and you start getting the 20s, you start realizing that it's like, oh no, this is not that what I thought it was. But I'm getting some privileges. I'm getting a lot of gain here. I'm getting a lot of prestige, getting some power here. And they keep going up. And then at that time, they've given in, and they realize who they become, you know, Satan worshipers. I've told y'all before when I watched that documentary on HBO, when these were atheists, who not atheists but Satan worshipers, who were presenting an out where others can now have a different reality of life. It was like, listen, all of this, you know, it was centered around abortion. And you know, we should be pro-choice. Well, you know, if I want to kill a baby, I should have that right. Who is God to tell you what you can do with a child in your body, right? Now, when you, like I said, when you listen to it, the way it was presented, it's like, man, they're giving them the do as thou shalt, like do as thou wilt. Opposite philosophy. Yes, I am the controller and the beholder of my destiny. Who is anyone else to dictate to me how I'm supposed to live? What I'm supposed to do with my body or not do with my body. Yeah, if that's what that book is saying, I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to go and follow this, right? And then you start believing that one precept or that one part, and then it just keeps going. And you start following all the other stuff. And then after you know it, you're a Satan worshiper, right? And then some of them will just testify, yes, I am, right? I remember years ago, we was down, we came down here to Philly one time. Me and a couple of my friends. My friend was leave the state. He was moving out. So we had like an outing, and we was going to this spot. And on the way, we passed this Edomite like club, and it was like, you know, the gothic looking people. And I had a conversation with this dude right down the corner, and pretty much he was like, yeah, I'm a Satan worshiper. Yeah, I know that, you know, we don't have but so much time, so we're going to live it up. We're going to enjoy. Like, it was just pretty much laying it out that I was shocked. Like, yeah, you're right. So when it says they know they have about a short time to live, it's just not Satan. Like, he's already fed that knowledge to some of the minions that he has, and they realize it, right? The different rituals that they follow and things they do, you can just tell it's satanic. But to them, it's cool.
At that point, whatever they touch is work out.
It's good.
And get whatever they want.
Yep.
I touch this, but whatever I need, I get it.
That's like the scripture in Psalms. The wicked prosper.
Why not?
Yeah.
Psalm 73.
Mm-hmm.
Would like to live.
I had a buddy of mine that joined the lodge.
He called me and told me about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yo, man, don't believe what this thing you hear. This guy's going to deal with the Bible and all that. That was week 1, right? The next week, he calls me again. You know, he goes to these meetings every week. He calls me again. He tells me, yo, you know, tell you some stuff, but it's secret.
Yeah.
It's a secret. He said, you know, but the thing is, it's a brotherhood.
Right.
The people of walks of life from all different industries get together. It's a brotherhood kind of thing, right? So he's like, you look at all the famous people, you know, all the presidents or these people, they were Masons. You know, this is where the money is.
Yeah.
You want to get money, this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
All the guys with all the money, this is what they do.
Right.
Like I said, that was week 1.
Yeah.
So week 2. So I think week 2, maybe a couple of weeks later, he calls me again. He's like, yo. Then he started talking about Egyptology. I was like, well, how you get from the Bible, G?
Yeah.
Who's going after this guy you said they were into the Bible?
Right.
He's like, nah, man, these guys got way more knowledge than the Bible. Right? This is a different level. Right? I was like, all right. A couple months later, I said, what's going on with Elijah, man? What's going on? He's like, man, I ain't dealing with this guy.
Too much for me, huh?
He said these guys just want to hang out, want to come every day. This and that. Nah, I ain't got time for that. And for some reason, he stopped going.
Yeah. I think you know, once you start.
He didn't tell me really why.
Yeah. I was about to say, because you know, once you start getting into the actual rituals, you know, they start giving you the Egyptology, because you know you need to start getting into that worship of their gods and the things that come with it. And then if you really wholeheartedly want to advance, and you'll just, you know, you'll give in. But if you kind of have a bitter conscience, and you kind of be like, I don't know about
I told him that. I was like, these guys, what you say? I was like, once you get up there, this is what's going to happen. They're just enticing you to come in right now.
Yeah.
He's like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't watching too much YouTube videos, man. You don't know. It's like a secret.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah.
So.
Was that the movie? What's the brother's name? I could see the movie. I just had the title. In it, it was a brother who was a Mason. And was it Rosewood?
Yeah.
I think it was Rosewood. Huh?
He was like, don't tell him the secret.
Yeah.
Don't tell him the secret.
Yeah.
Ving Rhames.
Yeah, with Ving Rhames. Yeah, that's the one. They had the. I think it was a brother who was a Mason, and then an Edomite who was a Mason, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it goes into the
sign.
Yeah, he chose
You
the
got
Charles
it.
Frank as the sign.
yeah.
And then what? Did he suffer for that? So he came after him for that, right?
I have to watch. I remember this has been a long time since I watched that movie, but I remember in the beginning, some parts in the beginning, where they had that little exchange, and how, you know, it's a brotherhood. Like, when they're supposed to look out for each other. It's you know, it's a society that does to one another. It's like almost like, you know, certain fraternities, right? When you're in this fraternity, it's a brotherhood. They do community outreach and do certain things. But if I see another one of my quote unquote brothers that's within the fraternity, I'm gonna look him out, right? As opposed to looking him out, I'm gonna look him out over him, that type thing. And with the Masons, it kind of goes, you know, across nations, and you know, it's just there's no nationality involved. It's like, if you want to be a part of it, you're a part of it, right? I mean, it stemmed from, you know, thousands of years back and all the way up until now, and how that went and transformed into the building of societies and empires, but it became a philosophy. I didn't even say it became a philosophy. It was always a philosophy, as far as for those who are in the secular inclusion of this group. And then it expanded, and everything was secret, you know. And you have different factions of it, you know. The government, certain people in government have the secret rooms, secret things that they do. On down to certain fraternities, where the secret handshake, you know, exclusive meetings that we have, and everyone can't know about it, you know. But the beauty of making the distinction between that and the truth, right? Because they'll say, no, we believe in the Bible, we stand on that. Yahushua said, there ain't nothing left in put in the dark. We put it all out there. This is what it is. This is that. This is who this is. This is who they are. This is what's going to happen. Right? You know, and if you want to know, no, you can't participate because it says this right here. There's no secret. thou shalt not enter in, right? Separate yourselves for this reason, right? There's no, I can't say. I remember one time my parents was considering joining in, and I was talking to them about the same thing. But at that time, I had, you know, back when we was big into the Illuminati conspiracy documentary and stuff, I had a tape. I had the expulsion of the Masonic Order. So I came down, I spoke to him on the phone, and I came down, I was like, sit down. Popped it in. and then it was funny because they had, like you said, they had started going to the meetings. And it's like you kind of know at what point or how many times they've gone based on where the place was in the documentary. Like, okay, he starts at the bottom and he goes up. See, when you start here, this is what you're exposed to. Then you get up to the 6th level. This is what you're exposed to. And I'm just sitting there and I'm watching it, and I'm looking at my parents, and they had a friend there, and it's just like, I just see the eyes, she's looking at each other. And then it was like when it got to a certain point and they showed what it was really about, and the guy, it was an Edomite guy, and he showed that, you know, once you get up to this level, and you can know that it's dealing with Satan, they started showing the different attributes and principles that they were touching on that conflict with the Bible. And it was like, and my dad was like, all right, I was like, all right, that's it. Because they was in so early, it was like, all right, that's it, I'm not even dealing with it. They left that alone, to my knowledge, but, you know, that's how that goes. Yeah. All right, so let's go back to Revelations 13:8 again. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Those big camp scriptures, right? He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. So now in verse 7, where it says, and he was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, right? But then it speaks about he was given power over all kindreds, tongues, and nations, which he has. But so what? Forget about them. It is primarily dealing with who? Israel. So he was going to make war with them and overcome them. But then the Most High puts the spirit in the scriptures where it comes back and says, he that have an ear, let him hear. Those spiritual men and women that's out there, pay attention. He that leadeth into captivity. Who did he lead into captivity for a time, times and a half of times? Israel, right? 1,203 score, right? 42 months. That's dealing with Israel, hardcore captivity. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Then it says, he that killeth with the sword, right? It said, we read earlier that he was going to persecute the woman which brought forth the man child. They were going to be killed by the beast. Right. They were going to have all kind of atrocities happen to them by the beast. So don't worry about it. Reap what you sow. Galatians 6:7, right? Those same things that they have done is going to come right back on them as a recompense upon their own heads. Verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, right? So now he's seen the regular beast, 7 heads, 10 horns. Right. Went through the 7 empires, went through the 7 horns. But then in the vision, all of a sudden, here come another beast that looks like a lamb, and it has 2 horns on it, right? What is this dealing with? Who is this new beast that's coming up that looks like a lamb but spake as a dragon?
No.
Huh? It's what?
Jesus Christ.
Let me read it again. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. How does a dragon speak? We just yeah, he has power in his mouth, but what is he speaking? We just read it back up in verse 5 and 6. What is he speaking? Blasphemies. He looks like a lamb. He looks innocent. He looks peaceful. But when he speaks, the things that come out of his mouth is full of blasphemies. Technology. Right? What is it? What's that from Star Wars? Is it Star Wars? Jedi mind tricks, right? He comes with Jedi mind tricks on the people, right? So this beast looks like a lamb, but spake as a dragon. Who was it talking about?
Christ.
Not Satan himself, not the image Caesar Borgia, someone else. Somebody said it. Somebody mentioned it about 2 minutes ago. I just didn't confirm it. I only went there because Yahuchanan said Christ. I wanted to make a distinction of why this can't be Christ, because he's speaking as a dragon with deceit and lies. Huh? So remember, this is another beast that's coming up. Who is this beast that now he's seeing separate from the others? Say again? America. Right? This is the second beast that he's seeing in the image.
America?
Yes, it is. It's America. Kun. Right? Now, as we read, we're going to know that this is talking about America based on the description that it gives.
America?
Kun, it is America. Can you hear me? Sis, can you hear me? Hello? Guess not. Right. So now, as it goes into the description of this lamb with the two horns, what is that dealing with? What is synonymous with America? Democrat and Republican, right? The two horns.
America.
This is how they rule the earth, rule America, rule the country, right? With the Democratic Party or Republican Party, and they push out their policies through both of those, right?
Independent.
Right.
It's funny because every time they get past the primary, the independents always end up joining forces with one of the big guys, right? Either one side or the other anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Two wings of the same bird.
So now you can write down Daniel's, the 8th chapter. And the 25th verse. Mm-hmm. Daniel's 8 and 25. Actually, I'm going to start at 24. So Daniel's 8:24 says, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. Again, this is speaking about Edom, right? Starting off with the Greeks on down, but this is speaking about Edom. It says, and his power shall be mighty, not by his own power. Why is it not by his own power? Because we just read earlier that he got his power from who? Satan, right? Not of his own accord. He got it from Satan. Why did he get the power from Satan? Because he worshipped him, right? So again, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. Speaking about Israel. So he's going to go out there, conquer and rule, but primarily a focus on him doing what? Conquering the mighty and holy people, which is Israel. Now, reading on, it says, and through his policy, also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. Policies is what? Laws, rules, doctrines, right? Through that is how he's going to prosper. It says, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. So he's going to, through his pride, he's going to pump himself up, right? Magnify himself in his own heart. But then it says, and by peace shall destroy many, right? Through peace. We're going to rule and to go into invade through the auspices of what? Peace. We're trying to bring peace to the region. But in doing that, what happens? You destroy many people. A lot of the places that you've gone into with the auspices of peace have left them worse off than they were before. That's the way it is. Yeah. Yeah, like we speaking now, like had the Iraqi war, even over in Libya. I watched a documentary on Netflix where they show the after effects of what state the people are left in. Right? The whole, because remember, after bombing and doing all, you got your infrastructure is jacked up. Right? And it's not like a swift process. You don't have the Red Cross and all these people going in and just bringing aid and bringing them up. No, because who controls the Red Cross? Exactly. Right? So they're not looking to go out there and spend their money on them. They're only going out to those places where they can have their influence and they can get gain from. Exactly. It says, reading on, and he shall also stand up against the prince of princes. Speaking about Yahushua when he comes. But he shall be broken without hand. Talking about how he's going to be removed from out of his place. Same thing that John the Revelator saw. So now let's go back to Revelations 13 and 11 again. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him. So now here's a separate beast, a little small beast looking like a lamb with two horns, but he's exercising the power of another beast before him. Who is that talking about? It says, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. Which beast? Whose deadly wound was healed. Whose wound was first? No. Rome. Rome was the one who was wounded to death, but then was healed. Now this new beast with two horns, looks like a lamb, but speaks of the dragon. He's coming in the power of Rome. Right? So the whole structure of America is set up like what? Rome. The architecture that's established in all their governments and facilities, state buildings, looks like what? Rome. Right?
More Latin words than English in the law dictionary.
Exactly. Right? Even in the law dictionary, in medicine, they use Latin words and terminology to describe things. Right. Exactly. Even on a carnal level, right? If you don't realize and understand that they're coming in with the spirit of Rome, when the Super Bowl is done, what numbers do they have up there to represent the Super Bowl? Roman numerals. They could have just had the number, but they use Roman numerals because they're coming with that same power and force like it was back in Rome.
Coliseum, right?
Yep.
Same mentality.
Yep, same like the sporting events and things like the same thing. Yep. Are you not entertained? Right. Right. So reading verse 12 again, it says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, which causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So now, in following after them, they're now also following after Rome, right? Indirectly. Doing the same things, following the same structure, same religion, right? Like they had back then. Those different Catholics and priests, now they got them again here, right? I just seen I forget where it was. Another Roman high Catholic priest got caught for sex acts against a child. Cardinal of Australia.
If it ever comes back around, we should check it out because I missed it last time. Down on Independence Mall, they had an exhibit there for like a couple of weeks. I was gonna go there with my dad. It's called Ancient Roman America, comparing and contrasting. It was like a whole thing set up. They were doing setting up America and Rome side by side with different things that they did. And it makes sense to have it there because that's where the Declaration of Independence was signed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was like an exhibit. It was there, I think, for like a couple of weeks. You gotta look online and see if they're gonna bring it back. But if you were talking about the earth helping a woman, you know, but just history and the comparison, like just totally telling himself he have like a spiritual life.
So reading on, it says in verse 13, it says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth. Then, right? What is that talking about? Make fire come down from heaven in the sight of men. Kind of touch, there you go. The bombs, right? It's like when the missiles come down, you see it, boom, and it destroys, right? So it says he make great wonders. Fire come down from heaven to destroy. That's where people say, who is like the beast, who is able to make war with him because of the weaponry that he has. And exactly, in the sight of the people, right? Verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. What is that talking about? Worship the Roman Empire, but more specifically because it says that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live.
Jesus Christ, the Father.
You should make an image of the beast, like the same that we just discussed as far as the whole system set up, the whole structure, the whole architecture, do the exact same thing that says it's like an image.
But now since it's talking about an image, what is that talking about specifically? Right? Hold that. Go to the Apocrypha, Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon, the 14th chapter. Wisdom of Solomon 14, verse 15.
14, verse 15.
Done. Page 66 in the Red Apocrypha. So Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14, verse 15, page 66, it says, for a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. So here's a father who had a child that died, but then he made the people make an image of his dead son to reverence him as a god. And not only did they just reverence him as a god, but then what accompanied it was ceremonies and sacrifices to worship this image. Right? That's what was set up. So then it says, verse 16, thus in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. Right? So now that became the standard, that now people had to worship this image. It's in law. And now graven images and everything went all around this realm. So now we come back here to this in Revelations, what we're reading, where it says that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. About what's the most popular image that they have right now? Caesar Borgia, a part of the blasphemy that they have against the Most High. So they took this image and surrounded it and made him to become a god. And they had their own practices. Some of them they took from old Babylonian and Roman customs from gods and wrapped it around Christ. Exactly. The Virgin Mary, Christmas, Easter, right? Oh, yes, all these different things now, St. Michael, are centered around this image, right? So now you have the image, and now you have certain practices. But now, like we just read in the Apocrypha, this had to be kept as a law. So now we know once laws are instituted, there's going to be certain things that have to be done in order to worship this image.
Keep it up too.
Exactly. So now as we read in verse 15 in Revelations, it says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right? So now here it is, you have the image, and now this image comes with its own ideology and philosophy and religion and doctrine. Right? This is who the real people of God are. The laws is done away with. You don't have to worry about those things anymore. God loves everybody, right? The image is speaking a lot of different lies.
Right.
And those who don't want to follow this image, what's going to happen to them? They're going to be killed. Judgment is going to have to come upon them, right? They're going to have to be destroyed. There's different ways that you can destroy somebody, that you can kill them off, that you can make them lifeless. This is what they're going to do. Now, reading on, right? So now we have an understanding of the beast and what the beast does, or what he has done with the image, and the doctrine and philosophies that's pushed with this image that we have now today, right? Verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. What is this talking about? What did he say?
Tattoos.
Tattoos. It's funny. Yeah.
Every time I'm walking around now, because it's summertime,
Mhm.
everybody's showing them off. Patting the brother up.
What is this talking about? He calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hands or in their foreheads. Ezekiel 8. Let's see, Ezekiel 8.
You got a chip in your
I can get back to the beast.
So
Throw away your cell phone, man.
what is it talking about?
Knowledge.
Doctrine, knowledge, right? So when it says, and he calls us all, what is it all talking about? All what?
all the nations.
All the nations, right? Dealing with nations, not talking about going down to the specific people, talking about nations, because the people make up a nation, right? So all nations, both small and great, small nations, great nations, rich ones, poor ones, free ones, bond ones, right? To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And what is the mark dealing with? Knowledge, information, doctrine, law, right? So if you follow the image of the beast and the words that's coming out of his mouth, right, you can prosper. That's what it says, and causes all of them to receive that mark in their right hands on their foreheads. Why does it say right hand, forehead? Why does it say right hand, forehead? For quiet.
And you carry out knowledge and education
Mhm.
about how to prosper in this world. If you want to prosper, it's what you got to do, it's what you got to do in this world.
Shake your hand.
So when you got, right, and also you
Right
become,
here.
right. So when you have the knowledge, you can take the knowledge and apply it in the world and prosper in things that you do pertaining to things that has to do with this world.
Okay. So the scripture that you're looking for in Ezekiel 8, is it Ezekiel 9? Yes, Ezekiel 9 and 4. Say again. Ezekiel 9 and 4.
So the mark in the forehead deals with how you think. Mark on your hand deals with what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Say it again, mark in your hand, what you do.
It deals with what you do.
What you do.
Yeah. So how you think, what you do.
Forehead is your
Like they
knowledge.
say, you got a hand in this?
Say it again.
Found the beast.
Right. Let's read this in Ezekiel 9 and 4 to get an understanding. Y'all come on, read that.
Ezekiel 9 and 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abomination that be done in the midst thereof.
Right. So go and set a mark upon the foreheads. The mark that was set in your forehead is supposed to be the mark that's going to be put into your brain and your spirit. Right? The mark is dealing with the knowledge or the seal of the truth of the Most High. So when you went through the midst of Jerusalem, what do you have to go and do? Speak to them, teach them, sanctify them, right? Which is going to be housed in your foreheads. So now it's the same thing on the negative side with the beast. He's trying to give you a mark in your foreheads of his knowledge and his information that's going to be giving you benefits to do, right? If you don't want to do this, then this is going to happen. But if you do follow it, this is what you're going to be able to do, right? So this knowledge comes with stipulations. The same way the Most High gives us the knowledge and he gives us benefits and blessings by which we can receive from him if we do them, the beast will do the same thing through Satan.
And also where Matt mentioned the rich and the poor, the beast pretty much controls the economic power of the world.
Right.
Through their money system, but their money now is being used as a benchmark for everywhere around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the beast is America. I mean, the beast is America with the two horns. Yeah,
right.
Democratic and Republican. So they control the world economic power.
Right.
Anybody will come up, and also the religion of the world, they control it. There's the Vatican set up in every country,
mm-hmm.
right? The Catholic Church is pretty much the predominant, religion around the earth,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they control the world politics, the world religion, and they control the world economy.
Right. So now, as far as for back with the mark in your forehead, right? Because I heard brothers, and I've seen other camps of brothers online stand behind the RFID chip. Right? They say that this mark is talking about the RFID chip, because as we read later on, it talks about the number of the man being 600. Right. It's talking about that. So they'll go into the barcode and break down the barcode and say the first one is 6, in the middle is a 6, and at the end is 6. See, this is what the number is talking about in Revelations. This is this chip that's going to go into you, right? That mark is dealing with the chip. It's going to be either planted here or it's going to be planted here. Well, now let's look at this verse for the mark. Revelation, the 14th chapter.
Before you go there, let's read a verse about the mark we want to have.
Right, I'm gonna hold that because I'm gonna get this a time to the same thing. So Revelation, the 14th chapter and the 11th verse. I'm gonna read it. So it says, Revelations 14:11, it says, and the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever. This is dealing with the beast. Their destruction. The smoke is going to go on forever. And they have no rest day or night who worship the beast and his image. And whosoever receives the mark of his name. So the mark ain't dealing with a chip. It says if you receive the mark of his name. What is the mark of his name dealing with? Huh? Say again? His ways, his philosophies, his policies, right? Because like Kahan Nabiyah just alluded, we're supposed to have the mark of who? Or whose name is supposed to be on us? And who else? The Most High. Write down Numbers 6 and 27. So just as it says those who receive the mark of his name, which is talking about the beast, now we're going to see whose name we're supposed to receive. Mark 6. Number 6 and 27. Numbers, I'm sorry. Numbers 6:27. Dyslexia. So in Numbers, the 6th chapter and the 27th verse, it says, and they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Right? See the similarities? Yeah. If we get the Most High's name on us, he's going to bless us. Right. If we get the image of the beast's name on us, he's going to bless you. Right. That's what he's saying. Right? So this is where the distinction between the two marks. We want the mark in our forehead of the Most High. The beast says, if you don't receive my mark, you ain't going to be blessed. I ain't going to let you do certain things in the earth. Nabiyah Dempakwa.
So this is Deuteronomy chapter 6. Deuteronomy chapter 6. I'll read from 6 to 8. Well, I'll read down to 9. The main verse you want is 6 and 8. So Deuteronomy 6 and 6, it says, and these words which I command you this day shall be in thine heart or thine mind. Verse 7, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children in thine house, when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, when thou risest up. Verse 8, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. Thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates. So it's supposed to be a smear campaign for the Most High's righteousness. Everywhere we look in the community, within our own family, the commandment should be exercised, exemplified. Then we'll have, we right here, the mark on the forehead and on the hand. So it was told us to do this back in Deuteronomy, when we first being set up as a nation.
Pequod and then Yawakanani.
To a certain degree, when you say you're from America, it's not just you say you're from America, you represent America, you represent doctrine, you represent what America stands for. That's why also the Most High said, if you have a mark on your head, now when we identify who we are as Israelites, we're supposed to walk in the culture of Israelites and doing things that Israelites supposed to do, as opposed to things that Americans are doing.
Run. Yawakanani.
Revelation 16 and 2.
Revelation 16:2.
Yeah, explain that to me.
How would you read? Deuteronomy 6, verses 6 to 9.
As far as for what? The beast?
Yeah, what's that sword, man?
6 and 6 to 9.
Plague. Some kind of, it's a plague.
Revelation 6 and 9.
No, he's at 16 and 2. Right, so these are the vials. When we read before, I think it was in chapter 8, when it went into the angel sounding. And then, yeah, and these different angels, each one had a vial, right? And this vial that's going to be poured out is going to be upon them, which had the mark of the beast. So these are going to be plagues, noisome or grievous sores, whether it's the bombs dropping or some kind of event that's going to happen to them for them following the beast. Are you confused on the sore, or are we dealing with the mark that's in that verse? Right, so the mark, we know what the mark is. The mark of the beast is dealing with what we just stated, which is his knowledge and his wisdom and his policy. Those that had the mark, that means that they didn't have the mark of the Most High. They had the mark of the beast. Now we just read, if you have the mark of the beast, you're going to receive judgment along with the beast. Plain and simple, right? If you standing, you know, on the car, if you standing with him and I got a problem with him, you might get it too, right? So don't stand with him. That's why it says in Revelation 18 and 4, come out of the midst of her, my people. Don't be standing next to her. Don't be siding with her. Don't stand for their policies, because plague is coming down. That you receive not of her plagues. 18 and 4. 18 and 4.
In other words, like to understand the mark, because when you're in school, you take a test, the teacher give you a mark. Right? So it has to be based on your knowledge, the mark that you give it. So that's the mark right there, which is knowledge.
Kun, you can go to Philippians. Philippians, the 3rd chapter. Yes, there's Nabi's guy. Philippians, the 3rd chapter and the 14th verse. Go out of Elders Aquan. Philippians 3 and 14. Philippians 3 and 14 says, I press toward the mark for the high, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yahweh in Yahweh Shah Mashiach, right? Which is what the Most High's name is supposed to be on us. We're supposed to rise to exemplifying that name, which means all of the different responsibilities, laws, commandments, and things that the Lord has in store for us. That's what we're supposed to reach, that mark, right? Matter of fact, the verse before it says, brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended or to have reached the mark. Like I've made it, I'm perfect, I don't have to do anything else. It's not what Paul is saying. He says, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before, which is the kingdom, right? All the things that goes into us preparing ourselves for the kingdom, that's the mark that I'm trying to get, right? Like you said,
Philippians 3 and what?
3:14, I read first, but then I went back and read the 13th verse in the same chapter. So you can write down Philippians chapter 3, verses 13 to 14.
And what was 18 and 2?
He was reading 16 and 2.
Oh, okay, 16.
Right. I quoted Revelations 18 and 4. But he quoted Revelation 16 and 2, asking about what the sword and the mark was in that verse. All right, so now back to Revelations 13 and 16 again. We dealt with the foreheads. Should be easy. The mark in their right hands. What's the mark in your right hand? Somebody touched on it already. Partaking of things that you do, things that you stand for, right? For instance, a lot of times when we make agreement and we shake on it, 10 times out of 10, you're going to shake with the what? Right hand, right? That's the way it is. When you make an oath, a pact, you're going to shake with the right. I don't care if you left-handed. You're going to shake with the right hand.
You're taking an oath, you raise your right hand.
You raise your right hand. You ever received an award or a medal or something like that where you was coming up in school, or a diploma, like you're going to graduation? They'll give you those diploma and award in their left hand, but you're going to shake with the right hand and take the picture. Right? Always with the right hand.
That's the agreement that you have made.
The power and the might and so you do oaths, you make agreements, you what's the word? Like you stand behind things that you say or do on the right. It's just not by chance that Yahushua is seated on the right hand and we do everything by the right. Esau's so backwards, he does outside of that one thing, majority everything else is done with the left. They march starting with the left. Your left, your left, your left, right, left, right. You read left to right, right. So they have a lot of things done flipped because they're backwards. But that one thing to be kept so that we understand still has to be done with the right. And that's why even as we read it, the beast speaks about putting their mark in what? Their right hand, because they understand that that's where the power lies, and that's when agreements and pacts and oaths are made with. Yahweh Kanan.
Psalms 137, verse 5.
Here we go.
It says, if I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning.
Psalms 137, verse 5. Right. You can also write down Psalm 139 and 10. In Psalms 139 and 10, it says, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. So we're going to be led by the right hand of the Most High. It's like someone, you're walking with somebody, and you're going to take hold with the right hand of the Most High to lead us, right? So the right is always synonymous with righteousness, agreements, oaths, swearings, so forth and so on. So this is what the beast wants you to do, to have it thought in your mind, and you stand by it, right? You swear unto it. Yahweh Kanan.
Yeah, left in Latin is sinister.
Right.
Yeah, sinister. They always trying to, if you're left-handed, they're trying to tie it and make you use your right hand.
I had friends that went to Catholic school growing up, ambidextrous, because they were left-handed, and the nun would slap their hand because they said that you can't use the left hand and right. Because the image of them using their left hand is considered evil, so they beat it, and they end up being where they can still use their left hand, but they were forced to use their right. Now they can just
Like a boxer, right?
So,
They kind of do stewards on the devil's left hand. That's why.
Can't hear you.
Right. So actually, they're not. They're just saying certain things, not impertinent. So we're going to go back to Revelations 13. I got caught daydream. Revelations 13 and 17 now. So it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. What is that talking about? Say that no man might buy or sell. See, the interesting thing about this here is because it says no man, certain people think of it as being the individual man that is talking about. Having an individual chip in his hand that you can't go to the corner store or the supermarket and buy or sell unless you had a chip, right? But it's not talking about that. As we've just iterated, the mark is dealing with knowledge. and the hand is dealing with your agreement or belief in it. Now, if you don't have that, it says, and that no man might buy or sell. So now we're not dealing with just men, we're dealing with what? Nations, right? Nations that he has conquered. That's what we read up back in verse 7. Power was given him all kindreds, tongues, and nations. So now if these nations don't want to have that mark, don't want to receive his doctrine, don't want to stand by it, then they're not going to be able to buy or sell, right? As far as for exchange, trade, trafficking in the earth. Now they will have, the beast will have the opportunity and power to say, you know what? You cut off. Be quiet.
Because they have different policies with countries in terms of money, exchanging U.S. currency. And they have policy established with banks around the world. If you don't abide by those policies that they set up, they cut you off.
Yep.
So now you won't be able to function as part of the country because the world currency is based on the U.S. dollar.
Right.
And they may put embargo on you and
Sanctions
on you and stop your country from dealing with different countries.
Exactly. And that's what's happened to countries like, look at Cuba, right? Years ago when they cut Cuba off, right? I was watching, if you watch the documentaries now, when right at the end of Obama's term, he was starting to lift it, right? Then you had certain celebrities and certain philosophers and educational people go down on that type of visa to go be able to enter into the country. You just couldn't just happen to want to just go, but it allows certain people for arts and education to go down to Cuba. So when they started to show what was going on in Cuba, you're looking like, Dad, they still got them old cars down there? Mm-hmm. Wow, man, they still got them old Fords and stuff down there? Mm-hmm. But guess what? America ain't the only one that make cars. Why BMWs ain't over down there in Cuba, right? Why Volvos ain't down there in Cuba, right? Why they still got these old cars? Because the beast said, you know what? Y'all cut off. Don't deal with them. Don't give them such and such, right? Don't allow them to prosper without us. They got to stand. They got to come up to the plate. They don't want to come up to the plate. They're going to be back in time. That's where they are left right now. I remember watching even the rum that they have. What is it? The Havana Club rum that they have. Now they made an American version, Bacardi rum. There's the Havana for the city in Cuba, the Havana Club, but then they took it and made the Bacardi version. You can't get the Havana Club here. Can't get it. You have to leave and go somewhere else to get the Havana Club. You ain't getting it here in America, right? Because they were cut off. Huh? Right, they made exactly, but it's not the Cuban version, right? It's not that version. Puerto Rico is with America, so that's fine. That's not a problem. They're called like what the 51st state, right? So that's not a problem. But it's those who they cut off. I watched the same thing on those in Iran. I watched the document of when they made embargoes and sanctions on those in Iran, and what the people said it did to their economy, what it did to their society of not being able to go out and work with other nations because of what America put upon them. Right? Cut them off. Not only did they just cut them off here, but they said all of my other friends, don't deal with them. Right? You see when you go to the United Nations and to the UN, and then they have to go and speak, and those countries get up to speak, what happens? Everybody get up and walk out. All their friends, all his friends get up and what? Well, we don't want to hear this stuff. Get out of here. Out of disrespect. Now you may have some of like the Hamitic nations. They'll stay and listen, right? Because they're not so much tied in with them, right? They're already those poor and bond countries, right? Poor and bond nations. So they're already in a situation where it's like, man, I'm already damned. So I ain't got nothing else to do but sit here and listen to what you got to say. But a lot of those other ones, they're out of disrespect, they'll just walk out.
Like the beast, if the beast is not in control, they don't want to be bothered.
Exactly.
They put pressure on the government to get anti-money laundering all over the world.
Yep.
You sign up, that's it.
And they did the same thing when the Iranian president was speaking.
Yep, exactly. Same thing. Nabiya.
I think was it 3 countries left, they said? At least that part of that grouping that don't have a central bank yet. I think Syria is one. Cuba's another. One other country might be Iran. And those are the three countries that still don't have a central bank in there that's controlled by who. So, see, every time that you look at that list, and you see where all the conflicts are going. Put two and two together.
Right. Read this. Matter of fact, right, go to Revelations. Revelations 18 and 8.
This is a precept of verse 17.
This is a precept of verse 17. Revelations 18 and 8. Say again? If you're gonna read, you got to stand up, face this way. It's gonna be loud, so everybody can hear on the teleconference line. On the.
I got loud voice.
All right.
Revelation 18 and 8. He speaks, therefore shall her plague come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong of the Lord God who judge her. So this is the destruction that's going to come at that time, right? The Most High is going to bring down his wrath on them in one day, death, mourning, and famine, burn with fire, thermonuclear destruction, lake with burneth with fire and brimstone. Read on. And the king of the earth, who had committed fornication and lived illicitly with her, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Right. So these kings of the earth, these other nations, when they witness and see what happens to the beast, they're going to bewail her, right? They're going to lament over her when they see the fire coming up from that region. Read. Standing star off for the fear of her torment, saying, Atlas, Atlas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for the hour is thy judgment come. Right. So they're going to be looking and saying, oh my gosh, look at it. I can't believe it. Alas, alas, it finally happened. That great Babylon got destroyed. Right? Watching on the news, watching it somehow, they're going to be looking like, oh my gosh, oh my God. You see how what happens when things happen over in Great Britain or certain places when terrorist attacks and people watch in amazement and awe, and it's like, oh my God, this is so bad. It's going to be happening on a high level when Yahushua comes back in that day and they see what the Most High and Yahushua is going to, destruction is going to bring to the beast, right? Now, they're mourning and lamenting over the beast. Now, read the next verse. Hold your question. And the merchant of the earth. The who? And the merchant of the earth. The merchants of the earth. The merchants of the earth are who? Who are they talking about? The other countries, the other nations. I mean, the CEO companies. The companies, but these are the people of the other nations who we just read before. It says if you don't get the image of the beast, you can't buy or sell. Right? All these nations who now the beast controls, who can put an embargo on, who can put a sanction on, they're now looking and saying, whoa, so these merchants, what does a merchant do? Business, buy and sell, right? Read. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. For no man will buy their merchandise anymore. For no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. There's no more trading and no more exchange, no more trafficking going on with her anymore. She once controlled it all. No more, right? And then as you read on down in the from the 12th to the 13th verse, it goes in all the things that's on exchange, right? All the things that people buy and sell from different materials, from different
gems and stones and so forth and so on, and then it ends with the slaves or the souls of the slaves of men. So people are also exchanged, whereas you don't really see them like it's still on the auction blocks. It's still done, right? When you see these companies go down to these third world countries and they have these sweatshops, they raping and robbing these people, putting them to work for long hours, giving them small pay, but then taking the product that they produce and the markup is like 500%, right? The doggone book or the sneaker could cost $2 to be made, right? $1 for the material. I paid him 50 cents and then the other 50 cents to get it from here to there. Real cheap. But they're going to charge the people who's going to buy them $80, $100, $150, $200 maybe, right? That markup is crazy. But now all that's done. All that craziness is over. All those doggone messing with weights and balances and changing the mark, that's done. Israel now is coming into place. The Most High gives us laws, but we can't tamper with the weight and measure. We can't fix it so that it just benefits us and it's wrong. Like, we definitely will never do that amongst each other, right? The Most High has hardcore laws set in place to establish justice and equity across the board. The beast doesn't follow that. Hence, while we see now what happened to brother this past week, he fell victim to falling into the deception and the waters of the flood, where he got caught up, put in a position of authority, and what happened? He got caught taking money and using it for his own personal gain and doing certain things. Yeah, the brother got made an example of. Right? He had to go out there and testify. Say, yeah, you know, I did it. I got caught with my hand in the cookie jar. Yeah. Or I took, not in the cookie jar, I took it out of the cookie jar and did some things with it, right? Yeah, yeah, he had to go to court. And yeah, he pled guilty and it was there, right?
How did they catch him? But he changed his guilty plea.
Hold on. One question. One speak at a time. Too many voices.
They watch all black people in high power positions. You can't make no mistakes. What's that?
Right. Somewhere along the line, I did it the right way, and they said, okay, I remember that. You know?
Said 20, now you mean 10. Nah.
I mean, they just, too long ago, you go back 5 years ago when Street was there, they locked up Harris gambling, right? They almost got him.
Yep.
Every black person that's high power, they watch them with a microphone glass, wait for them to make a mistake.
It's like, you know, sometimes it's like being at a job, right? Any one of us, you go to a job. If you're an employee, not an employer, if you're an employee and you're working at a job, right? You ain't got your own business. You're you know, just showing up and you're going to work, right? And it's a mixed, you know, race of different people, nations are there. You yourself feel that I'm not like everybody else, right? I can't do what he's doing. I can't say or do the same thing. This guy took an hour and a half at lunch. He's like, yo, let's go to lunch. And you're like, wait a minute. How long are we going for? About an hour and a half. Oh, but we only get an hour. Don't worry about that. You may not have to worry about that. But I know somewhere down the line, someone's going to say, they're going to have written down, yes. And he took an hour and a half for lunch. And you're like, but I was the only one. Listen, we're not talking about him. We're talking about you. You're the one that's in this office right now being reprimanded for mismanagement of for mismanagement of funds. You mischarged on your time sheet. Go ahead, Pathak, while I'm dialing in. So, like those in the teleconference line, just bear with me as I dial back in.
Welcome. This service is provided by access code or phone number you have dialed is incorrect. Please check your credentials and try again. If you are the host, press star now. Otherwise, please wait and you will be joined into the conference.
All right, so what was your comment or question?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm just working on Friday.
Please announce yourself.
And, I'm doing some work.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, I said, you know, we're doing all this work till around 3 o'clock. So I asked the boys, can we go to lunch? But the wonderful thing about, he never told us how much time you get. You know what I mean? I asked him, could we go to lunch? He said, yeah, we go to lunch. But what happened was, when we was at lunch, he came up, came back. There were 3 of us. We was all working together. The other guy, when he went in the basement, he started working. He didn't want no lunch. So by him not going to lunch, he figured that he was going. He came back and said, oh, told us to go home. Me and the other guy told us to go home because he see him working. He filled the lunch was over, but this guy didn't take the lunch. We still had like 10 more minutes to work. But he never said, and I wasn't told. I said, you know, you ain't give us no time for no lunch break. You know what I mean? Supposed to get a half an hour. He said, I'm the boss.
Right.
What could I say?
Right. Now, if that was an Edomite, he'd have said, listen, I'm calling HR on you. I'm doing all these different things, right? It's like when you see people get pulled over by the cops and you see Esau throwing pins at them and yelling, get in your badge number and everything else. Man, before Jake could even point the finger, they done grabbed his hand and threw him down and got a gun in the back. They beating on him and doing all kind of stuff. You know, you cannot do the same thing that they can do. That's just the way it is. It's the reality.
Yeah, so, you know, for that, you know, I told him back to that the holiday. He said, I don't want, and then another guy with me, he was the driver. He said, I don't want to see you or you until after the holidays. We can't go back until Wednesday. You know what I mean? Because that's the way that's the way he played the game.
Right.
There's nothing to do about it, though.
Khan Nabia.
And what you say, your brother bring that on point, which shows you when you know someone else is set, you gotta play by rules no matter what, unless there's extreme circumstances where the whole company is doing it, because it's little games. You gotta watch out for the games they'll play. They'll say, "Oh, how's everything going? Everything's going great, huh?" And then you know one person says something that the person above them didn't say, and then you're gonna say, "Oh, they told me this," right? You're supposed to know, and then you'll be left out there. So you got to play by rules when you're on the set.
Well, you know, the basic thing is, you know, when I go back, I'm going to find out how much time you're supposed to get for lunch. You know what I mean? But my understanding that we get a half an hour. We've always been getting a half hour for lunch. You know what I mean? He felt that this particular time when he came up, he seen a man sleeping in the truck, and see me talking on the phone, he got mad. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
All
right, so let's go back. We're almost done. Revelations. 13 and 17 again. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Right, so all of this is dealing with what is the name of the beast, the mark of the beast, the number of his name is all dealing with the philosophies and doctrines of the beast or Edom. Right now, as we read the next verse, is going into that number, which is synonymous with something else.
You get his time yet, stuff, William?
Say again?
You get his time yet?
I don't think so. I think he just got convicted.
He's still fighting.
Yeah, because he's going to be sentenced in October.
Yeah, he just got convicted, so he didn't get a sentence.
You already convicted him.
Yeah.
You know, really ain't too much you can do.
He's going to be sentenced in, I think, September or October. But the judge, he tried to convince the judge that he wouldn't fight with the judge. I'm going to lock you up. We don't know if you want to hide somewhere.
Right. No, I mean, it's not that there's nothing you can do, because once you, usually according to the court system, when you get convicted, that time between the time you convicted and your sentencing, now is the time that you plead for a light sentence, right? That you can plead, plead your case that, the crime wasn't that strict or wasn't that stringent. That's why people who commit murders, they'll go and plead for not the death penalty, or they'll go and plead not to get life. They'll plead just want to get parole, or plead for, a lighter sentence for whatever reason. So you got now have that time to go and plead your case as to the severity of the conviction is not that bad compared to him. I was only just doing a little bit of money. I should only get like 8 months. Time served with, that thing. or you cooperate. You know, you go out there. If you can give us some, we'll give you a real life sentence. Time served, you know, whatever.
Look, Joe Cosby.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's going for another trial. Because in this case, they thought that it was unfair.
Well, he had a mistrial. The jury.
They're gonna try him again, though.
That's what they want to do. Yeah.
Well, at least he got to be taking the rest period.
At least he can wrestle more.
Until the case come up again.
Give the people some money.
Yeah.
But he got a bunch of women over in Cali.
All right. Let's get back and finish this up. So in Revelations 13:18, it says, "Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man." Right. So with this number that it's speaking about is dealing with a man. People focus so much on the number, the 666, but it's really speaking about a man. The mark is dealing with a man. The image is dealing with this man and all the teachings and the philosophies and the policies that come from it. Not so much just the number, right? But it says the wisdom that comes from it says, count the number of the beast, for is the number of a man, and his number is 603 and 6, right? Now link this with Revelation 17:5, right? So in Revelation 17:5, when you go into the ancient Hebrew dealing with what we read in this verse, I don't even, oh man, I should have had the, the whiteboard, or with this would have been, I had the whiteboard. Yeah, that's what I was saying. If I'd have had it, I'll have to have that when we get to Revelation 17. I'll have to have it so I can just put it up on the desktop, the whole breakdown, or email it out too. But when you go into Revelation 17:5, it reads, "And upon her forehead was a name written," right? So we're dealing with the name of the beast, right? Or the mark of his name. It says, "Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth," right? So these three different titles or names are associated with the beast. But it starts off mystery. Because again, at this time when John the Revelator was seeing these visions, it had not come to its fruition yet. Esau had not done the fullness of the things that we know it has done now. But it says mystery, Babylon the Great, because it is the daughter of Babylon, and they take upon themselves all of the different rights and philosophies of Babylon, right? The mother of harlots. What does a whore does? It goes out and sleeps with different men, right? So on a spiritual level, this whore goes and sleeps with different philosophies and doctrines and accepts them all. That's why we have freedom of religion, right? It can accept like a, what is it? Incubus, succubus, I forget which one it is.
Succubus is female, incubus is male.
Right, but they both just like suck in like all different kind of energies or something like that, right? Right.
Supposedly violent fluid.
Right. So this is on a spiritual level what the beast does. It brings in all these different spirits and energies and philosophies to become one. Almost like the Tower of Babel, when they all under one umbrella wanted to go and build this tower. So now it's trying to unite everyone and bring in all of the, you like that? No problem, do that. You want to do this? No problem, do that. So it is a whore in the sense that if you stand by in God we trust, which is just what we swear on, you're not supposed to have any other philosophy or doctrine. That's where it became a whore. Exactly, huh?
That's supposed to be the top.
The Bible is supposed to be the top doctrine in the earth, the top law in the earth.
Right.
Then it says, and abominations of the earth, right? Which is self-explanatory, right? All of the things that the Most High says are abominations, they advocate for and stand for, right? Some way, shape, or form it's been advocated for. Whether it's homosexuality, even bestiality, right? Destruction of the earth in the manner in which the Most High has specific laws to not do, right? Men being with more, a woman dealing or sleeping around with different women, that's an abomination to the Most High, right? Under the auspices of dating, right? That Lord said that is adultery, fornication. That shouldn't be done. It's advocated for here. Right? So they have all of these things and much more when it pertains to abominations of the earth is done with the beast. So this is the name written on her forehead, but in the beginning it was a mystery. What is these things talking about? You represent that beast that the Lord showed John that's going to come to height in the last days. Now, when you take the ancient Hebrew of all these things, like as we read the Hebrew in the service, when you break that down, these three different attributes or these three different titles, it breaks down into 666. It breaks down into 666. Now, let's just say some of the brothers here don't know Hebrew, right? You may not have been able to go in there. Others have done, but even without having the understanding of the breakdown of the reading of Hebrew, the Most High still laid it out plain and simple here in the English of what this is dealing with. It's dealing with the philosophies and doctrines and laws of the beast, plain and simple. And if you follow those, like the Most High says, I'm putting my name upon Israel, we're supposed to follow his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Simple. If you don't do that, you're following Satan. Come on.
You said that's it. Sin. That's milk, right?
Yep.
What is sin? What you know what that is?
That it is.
But look at how many people don't even know what sin is.
Exactly.
When you say break it down to Hebrew, you mean the Hebrew words would be 6 numbers, 6 letters each?
Now, when you break down the alignment of mystery, with Babylon the Great, and you break that down in the Hebrew, as far as for, what's the word? Normalizing the name, like when you add up the letters, it'll break down and normalize into 6. Babylon the Great in the 6. Mother of harlots in the 6. Abomination of the earth in the 6. Like I said, on my page, the breakdown of it, and 17, or maybe even before then, we'll have it. We'll print it out and probably even email it, and also put it up on the live stream on the Hangout so that those can see it there as well.
In other words, the interpretation of this verse right here, broken down to Hebrew, each word would be 6.
Right.
letters.
Right. 6, the number 6.
No, again, who knows let's explain how the Hebrew letters work.
Right. So the Hebrew alphabet, man, it's been a while since I even talked about breakdown of the Hebrew alphabet with the numbers. When you add up the alphabet based on the position, and you add up the letters that's in that name, Babylon the Great, like the Babel or whatever, and how it's written in Hebrew, when you add that up, like the first word and you get that number, then the next one you get that number, you get the next one you get that number, and when you normalize and break that down, that'll be 6. It's easier when you see it than trying to articulate. It's the same thing sometimes when we go into breakdowns and we say, it's not that easy for me to just go through it real quick. I have to sit down and go through it a little bit more intricate. But that's why I just caveated that by saying, even if you don't know Hebrew, just eliminate Hebrew. Everything that we've spoken of so far already is the same thing. It's breaking up down that this beast, his philosophy, the image, the mark, all of that is dealing with what? His philosophy, his doctrine. Same thing when Yahuchanan read Ezekiel 9:4, when he told Ezekiel to go and put a mark upon the men that sigh and that cry. What mark are you supposed to put on it? The Most High's philosophy, doctrine, truth, right? That's what's supposed to be on those men, the elect. So you either have two, either the Most High's or you have the beast. One or the other. Oh, I think I gotta do it. All right, so that ends the Sabbath service for today. Right. Just realized I gotta do another Sabbath service. That's what did I do one already? I don't think so. I gotta do another one, right, Con? Because I think the last time I did them both, but I didn't think I did that for this year. So I think I just had.
What's next week? Next
week is, we should be in the Apocrypha. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you said the first half.
Yeah, I think I just did the first half. I know last year I did both at the same time, but this one I gotta do the second half. But we'll be in the Apocrypha in the book of First Maccabees, 4 and 5. Come. Come. The Feast of it's a good thing you mentioned. The Feast of First Fruits will be July 15th, sundown. The plan is for it to be the same place that we had the Passover. Yeah, it's boy in time right there with you. But I will confirm it most High as well by tomorrow. I'm gonna have to physically go there and nail it down. Probably tomorrow. Say again. The feast offering is $100. For every all the main high holy days. The Passover is $200, and the rest of the other 3 main high holy days, which is the first fruits, the tabernacles, and the rededication of the altar, because the rededication of the altar is just like the tabernacles. All of those are $100 offerings, or as much as you are able to provide, as the Most High says in Deuteronomy 16. So can't come empty. We say 100 for those main high holy days. The other holy days, such as the new moons and the Day of Simon, Day of Judas, not those, but anything outside of those main 4, it's a regular offering, free will offering of your choosing. But those main 4 is when we have stipulated offering. But like I said, Lord's will, I've been contacting the location, and I'm getting run around, so I'm gonna have to physically go there tomorrow morning sometime and then nail it down. But it should be at the same place, which is the Ramada Inn in Bordentown, New Jersey, right off the turnpike. Con.
I know that can be.
Yeah. I can't believe messages is like, oh man, all right, I just can't do it. So with that, we're going to close out the service. Yes, you can bring food for the Feast of Tabernacle, Feast of First Fruits. A lot. Say again. July 15th, Saturday sundown. So before we close out the class, again, we're going to give all praise and honor, glory to the Most High Yahawashi for today, the day of rest, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that was brought forth through the Spirit for our edification. Lord's will, everybody has a Tawab remaining Sabbath and a Tawab upcoming week. So we say stay strong, stay wise, stay circumspect. Because like we just read, the devil knows he had but a short time. So he's coming down with a lot of various different trials and temptations for us. So we got to be on guard and on point. And again, with that, I say shalom and peace to the brothers and sisters in Israel. And again, happy Sabbath. Shalom. Stay tuned for the closing service.
Shalom. Well, yeah, that guy that set up the Bronx Villa in the Bronx, he was from Nigeria. Was he a Hamite? But you got an Israelite that's also in Nigeria. Was this guy a Hamite?
I don't know. I don't know his name or what he looked like. I just heard about it, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I knew his name. I forgot. Yeah, they said his name. I forgot it. They said his name.
Henry Bella. Yeah. Henry Bella. Still.
He killed the Moab.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't investigate or check it out, so I would just be speculating. Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Nathalanawa, Par Yahagapin, Tuada Amun, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ath Yasha Allah. Hey, Madra, upon you on Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Babakushai, Shammai, Lanawa, Aitha, Yum Yun, Aitha, Shalak, Maika Allah, Waha Allahayim, Tazwadakim, La, Shemaiah, Barak, Rapah, Magun, Waha Kaziyak, Banya, Yasha Allah, Washalat, Lanawa, Rabiam, Kakama, Rabiam, Da'ai, Rabiam, Bayana, Rabiam, Sabalangwa, Rabiam, Amawan, Rabiam, Aqua, Rabiam, Ahabiam, Rabiam, Hagana, Rakhanaya, Wasalat, Ko, Kata Ayamnawa, Laha'akim, Wa Akwa, Wa Yasha'ala, from Yad, Wa Iwalam, Bahasham, Yahushai, Kawada, Amun. English translation. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please listen to us now, right now. Send Michael and the righteous powers and angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel. And send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection. Forgive all our sins for the brothers and sisters in Israel, always and forever, in the name of Yahushai. Thank you, so be it. Four corners prayer. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Barak Noah, Yasha Allah, Wabathia Saparim, Shema, Yasharella, Yahweh, Allah Haynawa, Yahweh, all right, since we see the I can circle up. Again, Yasha Allah, Israel, happy Sabbath. And Most High as well. Everybody stay strong. Shalom. Peace.
Shalom.
How long?
Shalom.